Good morning, everybody. My name is Steve Homer. I'm the Vice President of UPA, the United Pool Association. I'm here with my partner, Joe Mishik, on the UPA Podcast, and we've got a great guest this morning. Joe, why don't you take it?
Hey, thanks, Steve. Guys, I'm really excited to have Ron Hash with Skimmer on here. You can tell that by our link, and this is our 5th podcast. We're pretty excited. We want to bring this to you each and every week. Gotten a lot of good feedback. We've got probably, I think, close to 90 views on all of our podcast channels, which has been really great. And I also want to thank Jason Broswell. I reached out to him. Him and I have been in contact, as well as all the UPA members. Let me not forget all of you guys and gals out there. But I reached out to Jason. I said, hey, I don't want to step on your toes with your group. I want to be able to push our podcast. And he says, Joe, do whatever you want to do, man. We all want to see this content. We all want it to be out there. So I just wanted to say a special thanks to him. I want to grease this cog, if you will, on this podcast today with Ron, because I have a great pleasure of, and I'm excited and happy to say that I've worked with Ron in the past. And I worked with Jandy with ProEdge, their platform. And then I met Ron, and he was developing an app, a service app for our industry. And I met with him, and it was just one of those things where everything clicked, and everything that I wanted in a platform, they were looking at doing. So Steve is used to this. I'm used to this, but we all started with the route cards and the route books. And, if you have guys working for you, or you're handing off the binder with the card stock route sheets and the keys in the binder, and you collect those at the end of the week, and you're hoping that all the pools are done right and the guys are filling them out the right way. And when I had ProEdge, it was good, but I'd run into the guys that had the route cards and the binders, and they weren't looking for anything as far as technology goes. And it was kind of one of those sad things, because I looked at the benefit of collecting a lot of data. And that was one of the things that really connected me with Ron when him and I met, because I told him, hey, these guys are really, shooting me in the foot. They're like, you can't do it. You can't be quick. You can't deliver on the things that, people want to have in the field. And sorry, I'm going to go on a little bit on an intro here before I get Ron in here. So Ron, bear with me. But I just kind of want to lay the groundwork because I know a lot of guys listening have been in this position and been in this boat. And it's just one of those things where I'm excited to have you on, because you'll be able to explain all this. But real quick, a couple things about the app, and then we'll dive into it. When I first approached you, I said, hey, there's kind of like 3 things that I'm not getting from any other software that's out there. One is a clean platform. Second is very quick, because I had the guys that had the route card saying, you can't be faster than my pen, and I'm like, okay, that's a fucking challenge, and pardon my French, but I said, that was something I told Ron. I said, I just want to nail that. And, we'll talk about that, but you guys did nail that. The other thing was I was using a route-based software app that in other platforms, there wasn't really anything really good on routing, and you guys delivered on that as well. So I'm happy to introduce Ron Hash with Skimmer. I'll let you do a quick intro, talk about yourself and your background.
Great to be here. Yeah, I really appreciate you having me on, Joe and Steve. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, so my background is all software. I've been a developer since I was 17 years old, so I've been doing it a long time now, and most of it has been for big companies. FedEx, Carrier Air Conditioners, one of the fastest growing marketing companies, one of the biggest publishers in the world. And I've done lots of software projects in these big companies, things to really help just streamline systems and do a lot of stuff. So I've been doing software for a long time, and I love software, but I've always had that entrepreneurial spirit as well. Wanted to do my own thing. I wanted to come up with something that would just be helpful and cool, but something that I could build and grow as I talk with customers and just keep making it better. And I was kind of in search of what to do. I didn't know what I was going to build, but I was living in Phoenix, loved Phoenix, and had a buddy who was in the pool business and had been for about 12 years. And one day we're just together. He knew I developed mobile apps and things like that. So he started asking me questions like, how hard is it to learn to program? Can anyone do it? Like, if I go get a book, can I program? And I said, well, it's actually pretty tough. Why are you asking? And he said he had been looking for software. You know, he had been trained to use a 3-ring binder. He had a page for every customer. And he said it was driving him crazy, especially because he was having a tech work for him. And he didn't know what the tech was doing. He didn't know where the tech was, you know, trying to share information between the two of them. And he said he felt like he had to always remember things and he had this constant nagging doubt that in the back of his mind that something was slipping through the cracks, that he bought a part, it got installed on the customer. So the customer was happy, but somehow it wasn't getting charged. And so it wasn't being billed for. And so then he was out the money. And he just had a lot of these nagging doubts because of dealing with paper. And he had, you know, he was using the calendar app on his phone. He was using the notes app and then scraps of paper everywhere. And it was just a mess. So he went out there and he was looking for an app. He was looking for software. And he just wasn't happy with what he found out there. He didn't feel that it looked professional. It didn't look like something for modern pool professionals. And that's what he was wanting, something to help with that. So for me, you know, I mean, I didn't know anything about the pool industry. I knew nothing about it. And I started thinking about it. It's like, you know, I'd like to build something. I wonder if this is the thing. So I started looking at the pool industry and I saw it's a growing industry. There's a great community around it, just a lot going on in the pool industry. And I loved it. And it's guys that have that same entrepreneurial spirit. That's what you guys are doing. You're starting your own thing. You're building your own business. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, but it was exciting. Oh, sorry. It was exciting in those first meetings 4 or 5 years ago with you. You could just see that like spirit in your eyes. You're like, what is this? Like, it was like you landed on a new planet. It was like, this business is so crazy. So it's cool to hear that again, you know, so many years later.
Yeah, and I didn't know at the beginning if other pool guys had the same frustrations. And so I literally randomly cold called pool guys like in Florida, Texas, California, Arizona. I just wanted to be sure that it wasn't just my friend with the struggles. Yeah. So I called this pool guy in Texas and he agreed to talk to me. You know, I told him I was just a developer. I was thinking about doing something for pool guys. And he really started to open up and he talked about the challenges he was having, like tracking his texts and things, again, slipping through the cracks. And then finally he said, the paper game is killing me. And when I heard that, I was like, okay, so it's not just my friend, not just my buddy who has this. There's a need here for something. And that was kind of the beginning of it. Spent many, many, many hours with my buddy there, with you. You were customer number one. That still is an awesome thing to me. And we just started to figure it out.
No kidding, Joe. You're customer number one. Look at you. Always a cutting edge guy, man. I love it. Was
one of those, you know, it was one of those moments when you kind of look at it and you go, are these guys for real? They want to put an app on the, you know, I kind of feel this way about us being on the Apple Podcast, you know, recently. It was, you know, not to cut into this, but like, Ron, it was like the 6th or 7th podcast platform to like pick us up. And I'm like, when are they going to do this? When are they going to do this? And then, but, you know, it kind of brings me back when you guys were talking about that. I was like, this is groundbreaking because I don't remember. I'm trying to think back then if there was anybody quite on the App Store yet with a program. There might have been one, maybe two, but they were hokey at best.
Yeah,
you know?
not many, especially that we're dealing with like the cloud and saving data off so that you could always have it.
That was a big point too. Yeah, let me sorry, I'm gonna probably talk over Ron a little bit, but Steve, and for all of our viewers, one of the biggest things, because when I was using ProEdge, I had to be connected to the internet. So what I mean by that, and because I don't want people to get confused by, yeah, of course you're connected to the internet. No, but what I mean is, in order for the software to work, you actually had to be connected. So with the app, you can just have it on your phone, input all the data, and then it'll sync when you connect to the internet. So that was one of those things when Ron had brought that up in probably one of the very first sessions that we actually met. I was like, sign me up. Like, I'm done. You know, that was because you'd be in, you know, you have areas, I'm sure in California, Steve, where you get pockets where you can't connect to the internet at all, or you have no service. And
oh yeah,
you know,
it's definitely if you're in nicer areas. You know, rich people don't like to see cell towers. And I guess I can't blame them. You know, you pay a lot for a house. You don't want a cell tower out back. It's kind of ugly. Yeah, and we do fight with that. And I was the guy who started off with a book full of route cards. And it drove me so nuts, I just dropped it. And I just said, well, I'm just going to go to the yellow pad and take notes on the yellow pad. So I have this copious bunch of pages I'm filing through. And then, did I charge for that pump? Did I put that one? Oh, I forgot to clean that filter. I'm all over the place. And I got to be honest, I have route cards, but I still got the yellow pad. And honestly, it's a mess. So I'm excited to hear about Skimmer because I'd love to upgrade what I do for sure.
Yeah. The other thing, sorry, go ahead, Ron.
I was just going to say that's exactly why Skimmer's there, for that reason exactly. And just tacking on to what Joe said, from the start, we knew that we needed to build Skimmer so that it could work offline. That was just a requirement, and it shouldn't be any different. Like you shouldn't even realize you're offline. You should be able to work exactly the way you would normally work. And then when you're back in an area where there's good cell coverage, it should just sync to the cloud and back everything up. You shouldn't even have to think about it. And so and honestly, that's tough. The reason most don't do it is because technically it's a very challenging thing to do. But we knew it was important.
Now, as a rookie and not familiar with the product, can we start at square one? Exactly what's it going to do? And exactly how's it going to help me? I mean,
yeah,
I guess it's going to get rid of my book full of route cards, which would not break my heart at all.
That's right. That's right. So the idea is really everything you're going to need to run your pool service business from a tracking standpoint, routing standpoint, customers, all that in one app. And so Skimmer, we have a mobile app. We have the which works on iPhones, works on Androids, it works on tablets, anything like that. But we also have a web portal as well, which of course can be useful in the office. So it starts with customers. I mean, of course, you have the full list of your customers with all the information, email addresses, phone numbers, gate codes, any special notes. And that way, everyone has the information they need about customers. You're never stuck outside a gate knowing that the gate code is in a different binder than the one you got in your truck. You have what you need right there at your fingertips. The other big piece is really the route, like the normal weekly route. That ability to set up that route, to optimize it using a map. We have an integration with Google Maps where you can rearrange your route. It's just a simple drag and drop. And every time you do that, we recalculate the distance and the time that total route will take. We even show you, and this is in large part thanks to Joe. He really wanted to be able to have an idea of when his day would end. Like, if I stay on track, when should I be done for the day? And how long is it going to take? If I start to delay, it should update. If I go a little faster, it should also update. But that ability to see kind of in real time, and that way, if you get a call from a customer, that says, hey, when are you going to be here? You can look in the Skimmer app and it will tell you the estimated time you should arrive at each stop for the day and even future days. So
that's beautiful. One thing that has always irritated my wife for the last 30 years is is that I can never answer the question, when are you going to be home? So when are you going to be home? Like, I don't know. When the work's done. I just get out there and start working. When it's done, I'm come home. And it could be 1 o'clock. It could be 5 o'clock. Who knows? But that's kind of a great that's a great feature. Kind of get an idea how your day's running and when you're going to be able to button it all up.
And it's great for you. And if you have text, you can see when their day is going to stop as well. You can see how they're tracking through the day. You can see when they started their day. And so you get a visibility into your business that maybe it's been hard to have before. Then it comes to actually tracking, you know, tracking the readings, tracking the dosages, understanding the parts that went in, and just being able to record that in a clean, easy fashion. It's all there. And we work.
Let's get to that. Let's get to that hold on. I want to pause. We'll get to the tracking because I kind of want to step through this. There may be guys listening, and you know, I say this to them, and you know, guys that are questioning, guys and leave out the ladies out there that are listening and go, okay, that's all great and dandy that you can track my day, but how are you able to do that when I may be longer at a pool? And well, hold on, let me back up a little bit before I say that. Kudos, because it went to Ron's attention, because I was using basically the same thing as far as a software app my day. And so I said to Ron, I said, hey, you know, I don't want to use this other app. And then you guys developed that, and it was better than what I had, which was awesome. And what Skimmer allows you to do is it allows you to tell inside of the app how long you want to stay at each stop or each pool. So what that, and the reason I'm saying this is because don't put in there, for instance, like 10 minutes when you know you might be there for 15. Or if you know you're going to be there for 15 or 20, don't put that in. Put like 25 or 30. So what that does is it allows you to then see your whole day at a very, you know, the whole run of the day. It's going to say, okay, you're going to start at 6 a.m. You're going to end at 3 p.m. The other reason I mentioned that is because it's nice to, let's say your spouse, or, you know, maybe you're going to another job. You know, you can let them know when you're going to be there. For me, that was a big deal. I mean, my wife runs a international ceramics company, and I always would end my day at her shop, and I still do to this day. So, or I pick the kids up from school. That's something else, is you can, you know, especially if you're a one-man show, you can at least then see, okay, I picked my kids up at 3 o'clock. Shoot, I'm running behind. How am I going to schedule this? Do I need to push this customer over to the next day? Do I need to pull this customer out? And it kind of allows you to see that transformation happen. Because let's say you get backed up at a job early in the morning, it screws up your whole afternoon. Skimmer helps you see that before it actually comes down the pipeline, which I think is just brilliant, you know, and I just wanted to touch on that before we go to the tracking. So
I appreciate that. And you know, something else, and I'll mention it because you talked about, should I move something? This was another big thing. I mean, the weeks change, they vary, and you could have a tech get sick. You could get sick. Maybe it's a holiday, you know, maybe it's July 4th and you want to move things around for the week. That was another thing we really wanted to make easy. Adjustments to the current week only. And so we were able to do it so that in really just a couple of taps, you can move a route stop that was scheduled for today to any other day or tech this week in just a couple of taps. And it just applies to this week. So next week, everything goes back to normal. But any adjustments you need to make, you're not trying to hand off route books. You're not trying to, you know, shuffle papers between people. And again, it's not something
looks
that
like
you
we
have
lost
to.
Steve, but he'll be back.
Okay.
I don't know where he went, but let's just keep going. He'll probably chime back in.
Okay. 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 So you'll keep going. You know what? Sorry, I think I'm having a little bit of internet connectivity issue here.
Hopefully.
Oh, sorry, I'm having a little bit of hard time hearing here on my end.
Just keep going. No.
Okay.
No listening. Hopefully we're... All right. Sorry about that, everybody. So we were to see if we are hearing me okay.
Okay, so yeah, one of the things I was saying is just that ability to make adjustments without having to worry about changing papers, anything like that. It should be quick. It should be easy. And so that was something that we worked on, and we're able to get in there inside Skimmer.
Cool. So one of the things that you guys really worked out really well was having the one-touch capability, which I never thought you guys were going to be able to do that. By the way, I'll let people know when Steve gets back in here. Hopefully he can, because I hate that he left us. I don't know what probably technical difficulties. What I like about Skimmer is that you can, you developed kind of this layout that makes just one touch to input your readings and your data. You want to explain how that works?
I do, yeah. So, and this, as you mentioned at the beginning, this was one of the things that you were looking for. And that ability to actually be as fast, or if possible, even faster than paper. And so we really thought about this, like, okay, how can we do this? How can we make something so fast that you don't even have to think about it? And what we came up with is a little sliding selector, essentially. So you have your list of readings, and it's not like if you have some of the other software out there, you're connected to the internet, and it's essentially a web page that you're dealing with. And so it ends up being kind of clunky and slow. But because we're doing a native app, a native mobile app, we're able to do kind of something a little bit different. And so you'll have, say, your list of readings, total chlorine, free chlorine, anything that you're taking a reading of, you see your list.
pH, alkalinity, yep.
Yeah. And when you have, we have a selector that has all the values that you've specified as valid values for that particular reading. So literally all you have to do is touch the value, and then the selector moves down to the next reading. So you go free chlorine, enter. Total chlorine, enter. pH, total alkalinity. All you have to do is touch the value for the reading there, and it's done. It's recorded. It'll go to the cloud, and it's the history is saved.
Yeah, it's one of those things you kind of have to see to understand a little bit. But a lot of programs, you have to open up a window and then have the really nice Windows or Apple slider of values to input. What Ron's saying is just kind of how he said it's. You'll see a row of values, and in the settings, which is really kind of cool, you can put whatever kind of values to any kind of data that you want to input. So that's something else that Skimmer offers, is it's not just like they have a system of parameters, let's say, and then all the data ranges. You can actually customize all of those. You can add anything you want. In fact, I add the LSI and I input the values. And then, so what it allows you to do is, you probably know this better than I do, but what is it, like 5 or 6 numbers you can see on the screen?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you're on a tablet, it's wider, so you'll see more values, depending on the width of your phone. But whatever you don't see, it's just an easy slide to the right or slide to the left, and you get all the values.
Yeah, so you can actually, so like, let's say you have chlorine, pH, alkalinity, those are all rows, and then you hit the value, and then once you hit it, the next one just appears. So you can kind of run down, and it's literally one tap, one tap, one tap, one tap. All your values are entered. And when he showed me that the first time, I was just blown away. I was like, wow, this is faster than writing for sure. or as fast, I should say, if not faster.
And something else, and this again came from feedback from Joe. When you go into your route stop, one of the things that you need to see is your recent activity for a location, for a pool. You want to know, okay, over the last 4 times I was here, what were the readings I put in? What were my dosages? So you can get an idea of the health of the pool and what you need to do. And Joe had a concept for how to visualize that. And we were able to do that. So now whatever it is you happen to have put in, whatever readings or dosages you put in, you'll see all of it. You don't have to pick and choose or maybe only see a couple. You'll be able to see everything you entered for the pool. And that changes from one body of water to the next. So if you have a sand pool, you're going to do some things differently. And so whatever it was you did for that specific pool, you're going to be able to see just at a very quick glance the recent history. But you always have access then to the full history as well. Just a tap away, you can see everything that's been done for the pool.
Yeah, I think you guys can see the previous 4 weeks. Is that right?
Yep, that's right.
It's very crucial. I mean, if you have a route book, it's already there laying in front of you. But it was one of those things I'm like, Ron, I can't remember every single pool of what I did the previous week. And that's so crucial when, you're taking values like calcium hardness or TDS, and maybe those are values that you only input, let's say once a month, because they're so slow to change in the water. It was very crucial that Skimmer had that. I'm so glad that you guys put that in there because, you want to know what you did the last week. You want to know how much chlorine you put in the previous week because these pools, like as much as they can change overnight, they're pretty steady, especially, when they're maintained professionally on a weekly basis. You want to just slowly move the needle one way or the other. So that information was really crucial. So that was a really nice feature. Is there anything with the input side that you wanted to touch on? I know you have like the values and then you also have dosages, which you maybe mentioned about unit of measure. I really like that feature. And again, kind of the inputting possibilities.
Yeah, so very similar where you can customize your list of dosages. You can name things the way you want to name them. You can add as many as you want so that it's possible to track anything you want to track. You can have your unit of measure. Something else, though, is we let you enter your cost per unit of measure and your price per unit of measure of the chemicals and whether or not they should be included with service or could be included. What that allows us to do in the web portal, we have a couple of reports that will show you. One is a chemical dosages report. So now you can see all your chemical dosages totaled up with cost and price. They're broken down by tech. They can be broken down by customer. So you can spin it and see exactly what your chemical costs really are throughout the month. The other thing that helps us to be able to do is we have a profit report. And that profit report will show you your customers from most profitable to least profitable. And it factors in your rate of service, your labor cost, your chemical costs, and what you charge for chemicals or if you're including them. So really, it becomes very easy then to see, okay, am I making enough on this customer? Should I raise the price?
Yeah, that's a really good point because that's the kind of the beauty of having an app or a way to save data electronically is you want to be able to have that at your fingertips because if you have a route card based system, you can't you can't compute all that information at the the click of a button, which is the beauty of this kind of software. And the other softwares out there have, but that's really vital to have is because you can actually do stuff with the data that you're collecting. So yeah, that's really, really nice. Cool. I don't know what happened to Steve, but if he comes back in, I guess we'll welcome him back in.
I guess we will.
We can handle this on our own though, flying solo. But yeah, let's move on to I know the work orders are fairly new. Let's touch on that real quick.
Yeah, this has been one of our big requests, of course, and it was something from the start we knew we were going to get inside Skimmer. We really focused on like the weekly route, the weekly service first, and once that was there, then we moved on. Now we have work orders, and so the idea is pretty simple. You're there, your tech is there. They see something's wrong. What they can do is they can create a work order. They can take photos. So if you got a pump that's broken, if there's a hose messed up, whatever it is, you can take photos and actually add captions to those photos as well, a description of what the problem is. And the office can be alerted. There can be a little email alert that goes out anytime a work order is created. So the office is immediately aware of this. And then they can look at it. You can email the customer right from the app. It can include the photos. You can include whatever message you want so that you can get approval. You can also list any parts, any items that you need to accomplish that repair. So it's all right there, just nicely contained in one spot. The pictures, the description, the items that are needed, anything like that. And then it gets assigned, it gets scheduled. So you get a particular date, you get a particular tech, and it shows up on their route. It just appears directly in line with all their other stuff. You can rearrange the route again to optimize it, to make it fast. And then
let's explain that. Let's explain the work order piece really briefly, because let's say either, we got Steve back.
Steve, okay. Welcome back.
The internet here just dropped out.
Oh, that sucks.
And then it's all of a sudden it comes back.
Yeah. Hey, let me fill everybody that's listening. I'll just bring Steve up to speed. Talked about the chemical readings, the dosages. We're talking about the work orders right now. And what I was going to mention to Ron is what I really think is so amazing about this is, let's say it's either yourself, I say that as like a business owner, or your tech, let's say, whether it's yourself or your tech, they put in a work order, like say this pool needs a skimmer basket. And then that goes on the work order, but explain, Ron, how it tracks, because that's what I think is so awesome, is how you have that like little, it's like a little swipe on the screen, but it goes to every single portion of the app and then it comes back to the customer. So maybe you can explain that better than I just did.
Yeah. So basically we have in the app an admin panel where you can see your work orders, and you can see new, you can see scheduled, you can see finished, so you can track them start to finish. Let's say it's new. Let's say, and really work orders can come about from two different ways. Either the customer calls and says, hey, I've got this problem, and essentially it's like a service call. They need you to come out to take care of something. Or it could be that your tech finds something and they report it. And so either way, this will work in Skimmer. So the work order gets created. Once it's created, you can work to get approval. Like I said, you can actually email the customer and include the photos that were taken of the issue. And then it will get scheduled, and then it appears just on the tech's route. It appears right there in line if they're doing weekly service, or if they're a repair-only tech. Maybe they are. So maybe their whole day is filled with different work orders. And what you'll see, we have what we call work order types. And you could think of a work order type as something like a service call, a repair, a filter clean. If you're in the part of the country where you do pool opens, pool closes, each of those can be its own work order type with associated information. You have a default price, a default cost. You can also have a checklist. So maybe for pool opens, you have a checklist of things that need to be done. Well, you can define your own checklist. Now, you can be as general as you want with those work order types, or you can customize them to be as specific as you want. Maybe you want to add one for pump replacement. Maybe you want to add one for sand change-up. You can do that. And they're all color-coded. So now what happens is, let's say that for filter clean, the color code is orange, and there's been a filter clean assigned to your tech. Well, now on their route, it's very easy for them to just scan their route for the day, and that color-coded, filter-clean description will appear right in their list. And so they know what's a normal service stop, they know what's a work order, and they have an idea for exactly what their day is going to bring them. What's
coming down the pipeline. That's cool.
And then same kind of thing where you can enter the number of minutes that it should take. So the scheduling becomes easier. And then when they finish it, they enter the work that was done. They check off those checklist items. They take any pictures to indicate that the finished product, the finished work, and an email can go out to the customer automatically when they finish that. That would include the photos and any description, any message you'd like to include.
Yeah, what I think is nice too is when you place a work order, I don't think you mentioned this, but it'll show, I forget what it's called, but it'll go to like, you know, like you're buying it at the wholesale house, for instance. You can then swipe and say purchased. So once it's swiped and purchased, then it goes back to the customer's page from like, I don't know if it's the work order page. That's the part I'm a little fuzzy on.
Oh, okay, so you're talking about the shopping list.
Shopping list, yep.
Yeah, so we have it so that.
That's separate, isn't it? I'm sorry.
It's
I was thinking that was part of it. It's a little bit different, yeah.
It's actually used on both work orders and normal service stops. So, so you see a part that you need, you add it right there at the route stop for a customer. So Skimmer basket was a great example.
Yeah,
so you see that you need a skimmer basket. So you add it to the items needed section, and it's very quick to add it. We actually have over 2,500 pieces of equipment in a database as well. So if you want to associate the part with a piece of equipment, you can select that very quickly. And then it appears in the shopping list in the app. So now you go to your wholesaler and you know exactly what you need to buy. You know all the parts, you know which customer it's for. And what Joe was talking about is to indicate that you purchased it. All you have to do is a simple swipe right on it and release it. Just swipe and let it go, swipe and let it go. And that checks it off. It just indicates that now this thing is purchased. So the next time the tech is going to go, let's say it's next week. It's the beginning of the day for their route. Skimmer will take you to a screen that shows you every part that you need for your customers that day, so that have been purchased, so that you can make sure it's on your truck. And then when you actually get to that particular stop, then it will remind you again, okay, here was the part, it's purchased, to market installed.
I think it even says on the truck, doesn't it?
That's right. That's right. On truck.
On truck.
And so
I think that's so cool.
Just swipe it again, and it marks it installed, and then it appears on with invoicing, so you're sure to bill for it.
Yeah,
that's
nice.
Pretty impressive. It's funny. I've done this a million times, taken off without the right crap in my truck. I saw Jason Broswell posted something the other day. He took off. It's like, I got to go all the way home and get this stuff. I mean, you waste more time doing that stuff. It's incredible. Boy, this is something I got to look at. I mean, it'll cut my day in half, I think, all the stupid mistakes I make.
Even something as simple as when you go to the back of the backyard, you might remember, oh, there was a part I was supposed to bring. Should I go back to the truck and get it or wait till next week? Well, with this, when you pull up to that stop, you just tap into the stop and Skimmer, and you'll see right there, okay, here's the parts you need to take back with you. And so even from that standpoint, it helps you know.
Oh, man.
What I think is really cool is you guys have a lot of whole goods. You know, you mentioned how many items you have on the actual app or on Skimmer itself, which is so useful. But what I think is so cool is you can just type in basket and then select the pump, or trying to think of something else. I can't think of anything. Maybe like hose, and you can select the cleaner, you know, that it goes to. So you don't have to know part numbers, anything like that. Because once you get to the wholesale house, if you have the basket for XYZ pump, you know, the guy behind the counter knows exactly what basket to get for you. So, you know, that's a really nice feature, as long as you know your equipment, which most people should know what equipment they're dealing with. But as long as you know the equipment, all you got to put in is like the pump basket, actually put in pump basket and then select it, and you're good to go. I think that's such a, when you first showed me that, I was like, well, I don't know what that basket is. And you're like, don't worry about it. You just type it in. And I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. And, the same thing, let's run back real quick to where we were. The same thing applies with like unit of measure. So for instance, because you define like chemicals and readings a certain way, all your numbers apply to what's already being delivered in the app as far as like pounds, ounces. The values don't get assigned with like an ounce or a pound next to it. It's just you input the numbers, everything is defined. It's so nice and easy that way. So
thanks. Yeah, we definitely listened to a lot of feedback from pool guys to do that.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Ron, how long has it taken you to develop this program or this app? Sounds like it's very detailed. You must have put a lot of time in.
This has been an ongoing endeavor for sure. It was back in, I think we first started breaking ground in 2015. Is that when we met, Joe? 2015?
That sounds about right, because it was like right after I got married, and I don't even think my son was born yet. He's already 3.
Yeah.
So that sounds about right.
So that's when we started, and we've just continued to add to it. We've just continued to build onto it, and we're not done yet either. I mean, we have another year's roadmap ahead of us, and then after that, we'll probably have more as well. So our goal is to make it hands down the best app out there for pool guys, and we just want to keep doing that. We just want to keep making it better.
Let me touch on something. And this is not to throw Ron under the bus. He's probably gonna be like, why the hell did he mention that? But I called him a little while, like probably a few months ago, and I said, hey, do you have the LSI yet on there? And he's like, Joe, you and that damn LSI. And I mean, everybody listening is probably laughing right now. But the biggest thing that I want to say is you can add LSI values to Skimmer, which is really nice, because we've talked last week with Eric Knight and the LSI app that they have. And so a lot of us use that in the field as far as keeping track of how balanced our pool is, or our pools are. So what I like about it is that as long as that's there, you can jump real quick, off the app, double click your phone, whatever, jump over to the Arenda app, input those values, jump back to Skimmer, and then just put that into the app. And it's probably a little bit a time, but I'm actually starting a new business venture out here in Phoenix, and there was no other app that I wanted except for Skimmer, because I am going to have a few guys working for me, and I need to keep track of them. So it was just a no-brainer to go with Skimmer, and because for a while I was with something else, and that's a whole nother story. But always been a big fan. Let's talk about what is it? The invoice report.
Yeah.
I think you guys nailed that as well.
So you've done all this work, whether you're a one-man show or you're a tech or got techs working for you. Customers have been serviced. Maybe it's even a commercial account where you've gone multiple times a week. Parts have been installed. Chemicals have been put in. Obviously, you got a bill for it. And so what we have on the web portal is what we call an invoicing report. And it will take everything that's been done for those pools across all your customers and just bring it into one very nice, clean, easy to read report. You'll see all the customers you've done work for. It will total up all the chemicals that you've put in. And if you associated price and cost with those and set everything up properly, it'll show you how much to charge for those chemicals. It'll show you every part that was installed. It'll show you the dates that you were there. You have your billing address, your service location. All that's there for you to see and to know exactly what to bill. So then the idea is whatever you're currently using for billing, you just continue using that. But Skimmer gives you the information you need to know what to charge. With that said, I'll tell you, one of the big things we're going to be working on this year is a full integration with QuickBooks Online. We have the first part of an integration right now where you can connect to it and import customers from it, which helps you get going fast. But we're gonna flesh that out and build it out so that Skimmer will actually then be able to generate the invoices for you. And you'll be able to do a lot of things to tweak it to be what you want it to be. But that's one of the big things we have coming up this year. So wow. Even now with the invoicing report, a lot of guys have told us it saves them hours every month. And they don't have to worry about something being missed because everything shows up there. But then we're hoping to make that even better with the full integration with QuickBooks Online. And I will say after that, further down the road, we do have some folks that have, a lot of times if they're just starting out with the pool business, or maybe they just need something very simple for invoicing, we are going to look into doing a simple invoicing solution inside Skimmer as well. Not to compete head-to-head with QuickBooks Online. We're not intending to do that. But if someone wants a simple invoicing solution, we're going to look at providing that as well. So either way you want to go, hopefully we'll have you covered.
That's really nice. One of the things I want to mention about the invoice reporting, it's a brief overlook on every customer, but a lot of guys and people that are listening, usually either it's a flat rate or you have chemicals included or chemicals are separate on your invoice. You work that out. A lot of guys, when they're using QuickBooks, they'll do like memorized transactions, which is really nice because you just dump all of your prices in for your customers just in one click. So why Skimmer is helpful is when you're scrolling through and looking at each customer, Ron has built it really cleanly where it's either the price is green or it's gray. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think if it's green, you have like an extra charge on there. And if it's gray, you can keep swiping, right?
Well, yeah. So we show you, actually, it kind of breaks it down in an overview. So you see how many route stops there were for the customer, work orders, chemicals. It shows you at a very high level, and then it shows you the price. And if that price is, if we have all the information we need to tell you this is the correct price to charge, then it's green. If we don't have all the information we need, then we indicate that. And it's actually orange now with a little indicator, just so that you know, okay, I need to look a little more closely at this because Skimmer didn't have all the information to know that this is the complete price to charge. But it's very clearly indicated.
That's what makes it super fast for those that are listening. That's what makes it super fast to input all of the charges that are separate from, let's just say, monthly service. That's what I like about it. Steve, you have any questions?
No. One question I'm thinking about is where do you get it? Is this something you download on your phone? Is it that simple?
Yeah, great question. So on the website, which is getskimmer.com, there's a sign up button, and someone who wants to get started, you have to sign up on the web first, and that creates your user account. But the app on the App Store is free. So we have it. It's just like if you're on an iPhone, you go to the App Store, you search for Skimmer Pro. If you're on an Android, you go to the Google Play Store, and again, you search for Skimmer Pro. So it ends up being an app that you just download like any other app, and then you log in with the user account that was created.
Oh, that's
real
easy.
quickly, the charge for the actual service usage is very nominal, like very affordable. In fact, I like that about it. I think if you're less than 50 accounts, it's less than $1 an account, right?
Yeah, so we have a monthly minimum of $29 a month, but it's 50 cents per customer that you do work for. So let's say that you service 80 customers in a month. Then 50 cents per customer, it's only going to be $40 for that month. And you can go to that customer as many times as you need to. There's no extra charge for users. So you can have an unlimited number of users. I know a lot of folks will have people in the office, users in the office. You might have part-time techs, full-time techs. You can have as many as you want, and it won't increase the price at all. Everything with Skimmer is unlimited. So it's $29 for the first month, no matter how big you are. After that, it just goes based on usage. And I guess I'll throw in, we have a 60-day money-back guarantee. We thought about doing a free trial, and I know a lot of people do free trials. We just found them to be too limiting, too short a period of time, or they restrict functionality, and we didn't want to do that. So instead, we give 60 days to really try it. We want people to see if it's going to be a good fit, because we want happy customers. I mean, we don't want anyone using it if it's not a good fit. And so 60 days we feel is enough time to really try it, really see if it'll work for you. And if not, it's no problem. We can cancel your subscription and we'll give you a full refund. It's like I said, that's what we want to do.
$29 is really cheap when you think about it. If you forget to get something in supply house, have to double back. If you forget something at home and have to double back, there's $29 right there. And $29, I mean, most guys will leave that in tips at the donut shop each month. I mean, it's really a small number. It's really nothing. So what a bargain. What a value.
Thanks. We appreciate that. We wanted to make it really fair. And I guess I'll just add, I'll clarify, that's not 50 cents per customer that you store in Skimmer. It's 50 cents per customer that you do work for. So you might have a repair-only customer. So maybe you do a repair 2 months out of the year. You can leave them in Skimmer the entire year. All the history, everything stays there, and you're not charged for them. You're only charged for them in those 2 months where you actually did work for them. Again, we're just trying to make it very fair. Very fair.
Well, it seems fair to me. Very affordable, too.
Hey, I know, Steve, you were gone for most of the, or not most, I shouldn't say that. You were gone for a small segment. And we got 51 minutes already under our belts. So that hour flew by pretty quick. Yeah, we weren't sure if this was going to go short, whether it was going to go long. And I was like, you know what? There is so much to talk about with this app. By the way, Ron, you need to get on Facebook. You are blowing up on some of these groups. I see you mentioned quite often, which again, for all those listening out there, and knowing how much I've been involved with Skimmer, it's really exciting to see people talking about it. I only joke with Ron because I know that he is very busy and he's fielding a lot of calls out there all the time and helping people, with their subscription or using the app and all that. So I just think it's really great to see a lot of people loving it for one, and being kind of come to fruition. So I know there for, I won't get into the details, but I know there for a while. I got a call. Oh, well, we kept your subscription going, and this was kind of a dark time for Skimmer. It was like probably 3 years ago or something, and they're nowhere there now. But there was a time when it was, make or break it for them, but now they're completely making it. So I'm so happy. I'm happy that it's worked out, because sometimes things just, I've worked for other companies and stuff that things just kind of fade away and don't ever hear about it again. But I'm glad that things are going well for you, Ron, and all the success with Skimmer. Steve, you still there? You look frozen. Oh, we must have lost him.
Oh, maybe.
Anyway, Ron, just close us out really quick. Do you have anybody? Sometimes we ask people if there's anybody that they would recommend that they'd want to hear on our podcast. I know you're kind of a niche corner segment of our industry, but is there anybody out there that you've met or run across, either a big company or somebody that you think would be great to have on for us?
I think having some of the guys that are doing the pool shows, the trade shows, I think that's really interesting to hear some of the background of the shows and some of the benefits of being there, of going. And I say that, it's a little bit ironic. I haven't been to a trade show yet. with Skimmer. It's something that in the future we're looking to do, because it's an important thing to the industry. It's important to grow and see what's out there. So I think that could be interesting.
Yeah. I definitely think that in the next year or two, you're definitely going to be at the Western and some of the other shows across the country. The Northeast show is really big. Probably a good idea to get out there. But there's some in Texas and Florida that are just as big. So, yeah, it's been great having you on. I'll let you get on with your day. I know Steve just dropped out again, so I'll say bye from Steve. But no, thanks, Ron. We're really glad that we had the chance to talk, and definitely you and I catching up, and it was great.
It's been a true pleasure, and all the best on this new podcast. This is going to be very helpful to a lot of people. So thanks for having me on. This has been a true pleasure, and especially because you and I go so far back, and you were there in the early days, and now to see that where things have gone and how quickly they're growing now and moving, it's been an exciting run, and you've been part of it. So I appreciate that. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, thanks. Real quick, getskimmer.com is where you can find everything you need to see. They have an 18-minute video on Skimmer. So I'll end with that. And Ron, you have a good day, sir.
You too, man. You take care.
All right.